Friday. Happy Friday. How you doing? Good? I'm feeling good. Nice to have you with us on the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update. I'm Jason DeRusha. Have you had your coffee yet? Helps make this update a little more palatable. I'd recommend it. Let me give you a look at the weather forecast. Going to be nice today, right? Right on the money for average, which is 25. So it'll be more like 27 for our high today. Pretty good. A little cloudy. Yesterday was a little sunnier. Be a little bit warmer today. But when you're in the mid-20s in late January, I feel like you're winning. Snow is coming for tomorrow, but it looks like it's leaning south. So if you're in a southern suburb, it'll start tomorrow afternoon. You might end up with 3 inches. In the metro, right now the models are looking like 1.5 inches or 2 inches. To the north, maybe you get nothing. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the next 24 hours or so. Let's talk about this. You guys probably know that I love cars. I love shopping for cars. I would like a new car every 6 months. Like, I'm bored with it. Let's try a new one. I just love them. I don't know why. I spend, an hour in the car every day, probably. A little surprised that General Motors announced that in just 14 years, they're going to be done with gasoline and diesel-powered vehicles. The company plans to go all electric. This is a General Motors goal to become carbon neutral. Now, right now, there are barely any electric vehicles in the GM lineup. They've got the Volt. No, they discontinued the Volt. They got the Bolt. That's it, B-O-L-T, all electric. U.S. government also moving in this direction. All of the government cars could be electric, too. The Biden administration wants to wipe out all of the 645,000 government fleet vehicles with electric ones. Ford has come forward saying, Ford has the Mustang that's going to come out and be electric, and they're working on an SUV. We want to know what you're thinking about electric cars. In Minnesota, there's some hesitancy, right? Because, well, a lot of us like to tow a boat, and so electric cars right now, there's no SUV, there's no pickup, although those things are in the pipeline. I think Tesla is the main electric car in the state of Minnesota, and to be honest, they're only about 3,500 or something. I don't know, there aren't that many of these cars on the road. What do you think? What are your what are you hesitant about? So let us know. Just kind of curious, taking your pulse on electric cars. Every time I've looked for the last 2 cars that I bought, I have danced with electric cars, but I never brought the electric car home. So there you go. Some new details about a new COVID vaccine that we want to tell you about. Johnson & Johnson says its vaccine does look like it protects against COVID-19 with just 1 shot, but it's maybe not as protective as some of its rivals. Results released within the last hour show the single-shot vaccine was 66% effective overall. Now, compare that to Moderna and Pfizer. That's about 90% effective with 2 shots. Those 2 vaccines are the shots that thousands of Minnesotans got yesterday. This was one of the pilot sites in Brooklyn Center. Everybody's showing up here, one of the lucky ones to win the lottery. Remember, the state shifted to a 24-hour sign-up window to avoid a free-for-all. 226,000 seniors put their names in for just over 9,000 appointment spots. One of those was Luann Wudlick, who drove up from Excelsior.
Bless my daughter, she went and signed me up. I couldn't believe it. I thought it would be September before I would get my shot.
Yeah, how about that? Health Commissioner Jan Malcolm did tell us that she's not going to commit to sticking with the same process next week. Will we still do a lottery? Will we still have kind of 9,000 shots? Or maybe we'll have more shots. Maybe it'll be in, who knows? Like, this is all changing pretty quickly. So the good news is if you applied for a slot in the lottery, you do not need to reapply to stay in the state system for however they decide to dole out appointments. But if you haven't applied, get in on it starting next week. Wisconsin lawmakers were talking tough yesterday that they were going to get rid of Governor Tony Evers' mask mandate. They didn't vote. They decided to table it because, well, you know what? Sometimes your decisions have consequences that you hadn't quite considered. So Republicans control both the Senate and the Assembly in Wisconsin. They don't like the governor's mask mandate. They think local communities should decide to do whatever they want. And the Senate got rid of the masks. The House got ready to vote, and someone said, hang on, guys. If you get rid of the public health emergency in Wisconsin, invalidating the mask mandate, the federal government will stop sending us money. So they decided they better figure this out. Nobody likes government mandates, except when it means that the government money is coming your way. How about that? So no vote for now as Republicans try to figure out some way to wiggle around that. The discovery of yet another coronavirus. Oh, bottom line for you, if you're in Wisconsin, mask mandate's still in effect. So that's the bottom line. We found another coronavirus variant in the United States, and that is adding even more urgency to this idea of getting people vaccinated so we can stop all of these mutations. Two different people in different parts of South Carolina were infected with this new strain from South Africa. An official said these two people didn't travel. There's no known connection between those two cases, so that means more people have it. The variant initially detected in South Africa, just like some of these other variants we've seen, it's believed to be more contagious and possibly more resistant to the current vaccines. So have you been following all the GameStop, Robinhood drama? It's a little confusing to stay on top of, isn't it? You're like, who are the good guys here? Like, is it kind of this group of internet Robin Hoods stealing from the rich hedge fund jerks? Or is it just two different buckets of jerks? Who's to say? I'll tell you who nobody likes right now, this app, Robinhood. They restricted trading on about 13 stocks yesterday. The idea of Robinhood is that anybody can invest. You don't need some big firm. You go on the app. You can invest with no commissions. Just get on there and do it. GameStop, of course, stock has been surging because people on Reddit were like, hey, they noticed that some hedge funds had taken short positions, which basically a short sale is very confusing. You kind of borrow a stock, sell it, and then you try to sell it again when it goes in the tank. And that way, you know, you sell it at market rate for $10. Say there's a share at $10. You sell it for $10. And you borrowed it, but then when you pay back whoever you borrowed that first share from, when the price tanks, you've made money, right? So if the share tanks to $1, you've made $9. Does that make sense? No? Yeah, it still doesn't make sense. So anyway, Robinhood CEO said, look, they did it because they had to, because of regulations. Other people are saying you're in the pocket of big hedge funds, so whatever. More Robinhood nonsense today for people who care about that. Popular Twin Cities winter event is back tonight. The Lopid always restricts the number of people because you go out on the lake, and this year it's COVID, and so, you know, you had to pre-register. The slots are full, but boy, for folks who are going to get out there and get to see it, so cool. Beautiful luminaries. Isn't this magical? This was from 2020. Organizers are encouraging spectators to the actual Lopit ski race to stay home. So, maybe it's just me, and I'm pretty COVID safe, but it's sort of sad to see all these restrictions on outdoor events. Like, are we going too far with this? Like, we're outside. It's a big lake. I don't know. Everybody's doing their best to try to figure it out. Some people wait all year for this. Girl Scout cookie season. It's almost here. Got to tell you, I think the Girl Scouts are actually in this challenging circumstance. I think they're giving the young women of their organization an even more valuable lesson, which is e-commerce, right? The organization is mostly going to do online sales. They have a lot of different ways you can do it. So Scouts will get a link. And, you know, I mean, the smart Scouts will record a video and just tug at your heart to get you to buy these online. Scouts will be allowed to, you know, drop these at your porch and take contactless payments, that sort of thing. You'll still see some smaller groups gathering outside stores like Cub Foods. Stop what you're doing and listen to 6-year-old Eva Frank, who is excited to sell cookies for the first time.
So either I do a Zoom call or I FaceTime them, like my family and friends, and I show them all of the kinds and tell them.
Eva, take all my money. She is the cutest. And, you know, Hey, let's make some money for your troop. We've got information on where you can find cookies this year on our website at WCCO.com. We still have a week or so. Some sales start February 6th. A lot of it will roll out on the 20th, so just something to keep your eye out in the coming weeks. A Twin Cities woman has taken her wedding dress mystery to social media in hopes the mix-up will be solved. I don't know. This is a weird one, right? Wendy Taylor wanted to show her wedding dress to her daughter. She got married 14 years ago. So in 2006, she did like a lot of brides do. You pay a dry cleaner, a company, to box up the wedding dress. Evans Garment Restoration is who she says she hired, but she said she got quite a surprise when she opened her box.
She saw the look of horror, for lack of, because it wasn't my dress. It's a beautiful dress. It's not my dress. My dress, it was strapless. It was two-tone. It had beadwork on it. Very different overall than this dress.
It's not her dress. The company gave her someone else's dress. So we've got a mystery on two sides, right? And the restoration company has new owners, new software, so they have no idea. They're like, we don't know. We're really sorry, but we don't know. Wendy Taylor's Facebook post has been shared hundreds of times this week. So somebody who got married in 2006 or 2007 and went to this same restoration company, open the box. If you had a size 10 dress from David's Bridal and that is not what's in your box, let's make a connection here and get this sorted out. So weird, right? This is, you know what? This is like a bride issue, right? Like, how weird would it be if guys were like, you know what I'm going to do with my tux? We're going to box it up. We'll save it forever. Can't wait to show my tux. So dumb. When my wife had, I don't know where her wedding dress is, but I was like, what are we doing? You can put this on? Like, have some sort of creepy dance 20 years later? Weird. Weird stuff. All right. You're going to give it to your daughter, and your daughter's going to be like, do I have to wear that garbage dress? Mom. Oh, you can knit it into a little, you sew it and make a little. Whatever. All right, let's go. You can see Mr. Real, like, I'm a. So sentimental. That's me. All right, let's do it. Show the things. What are people saying? Electric cars. Let me just tell you, if you've never been in an electric car, it's super fun. Like, I had this idea of electric cars being like a slot car. But no, the torque is just insane. It's like a golf cart. You step on the gas and it just goes. Nancy Ross's husband wants to get one. Yeah, the price is too high. Like, you really have to keep these electric cars for at least 5, 6, 7 years to pay it off, to make the difference pay off. Judy says lots more research that needs to be done. We just need the cost of batteries to come down, which it's a chicken and egg thing a little bit, Judy. Like, the cost will go down when more people buy it, but people aren't buying it because the cost hasn't gone down. Aminata Nelson, I'll stick to gas cars. I mean, the reality, the environmental impact of this, the best thing you can do is drive your current car until it's done. The second best thing is to buy a used car that's already been produced. And then the third best thing, if you're buying new, would be electric, right? Katie says, yep, sound good, but pricey. It's the main obstacle, I think. Thanks, Katie. Jess, electric car would never work in Southwest Minnesota. Too much wind and open roads. Jess, it's like a regular car. Like, it's it's not going to just blow right off the road. It's still a regular car. In winter, though, you do get a little bit less range. That's a factor. Lots of factors. I don't know. Kind of fun. Hope you have a great weekend. Open your wedding dress boxes, everybody. Gather the family around. Take a look. And do it like Deal or No Deal. Say, like, open the case. We'll see you Monday here on the CBSN Minnesota Morning Update.